I must thank them once more for such an engaging and awesome session. And now is the time when I say to you, Namaskar and good evening. मैं हूँ आपके साथ निहारिका. Dear audience, this evening is as much about celebrating trailblazers, that is, those who have gone off the beaten track and taken the road not very often taken. So, in a way, in a sense, it is as much about celebrating our members and this vibrant networking forum, the Forum for Entrepreneurship, and the Forum for leaving a blazing trail behind, as much as it is about the guests that we are going to meet in a short while. Because they are the ones who have brought forth stories of several trailblazers from across India, be it entrepreneurs, be it social workers, or be it people who are trying to uplift the society and make it better in some way or the other. And all this in their television show by the name of Trailblazers. Now, Trailblazers has been about 7 years old with 80 odd stories in its cap and has successfully managed to rule the hearts of all the audiences when it has been showcased on Z Business, on Headlines Today, and on Bloomberg TV. अब इससे पहले कि मैं आपसे और कुछ कहूँ, I would just say that seeing is believing, and glimpses tell you more than my words ever could. So let me just take this liberty to show you a few videos and a few snippets from Trailblazers.
That happening with entrepreneurs. Fire has resiliently built a life from scratch. We feel that we will admire.
Trailblazers, ladies and gentlemen. So that is what the show is all about. I'm sure you must have caught that glimpse and you must have understood what we're trying to get at this evening. And we will launch shortly more on this. But before that, I should take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Vivek sir for having me here this evening. And now's the time that I invite him on screen with me. Vivek sir, time for you to step to the front stage from the backstage.
Hello, Niharika. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. All good, and even better this evening because I'm very excited to meet our guests in the upcoming conversation.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. So am I.
Right, sir. So, why don't you tell us more about Ajay sir and Aditi ma'am before they join us, and why don't you
Yeah,
introduce?
they're obviously very accomplished individuals and they've been doing fantastic work, phenomenal work in highlighting the success stories of CEOs. I've had conversations with Ajay and he's obviously a remarkable filmmaker. Dr. Aditi is a very famous personality, no need to introduce her. So I think it's time for us to probably welcome them on the screen.
Definitely, I think that's what I'm looking forward to, and that's what everybody else is as well.
Yes, so welcome Ajay and welcome Dr. Aditi to Vibrant Networking Forum's event.
Hi. It's our
Lovely to have
pleasure.
you both. Yeah, lovely
Thank
to
you
have
so
you
much.
both
Thank you
here.
so much, Vivek.
You're most welcome, Dr. Aditi. In fact, all of us in Chandigarh have been fans of yours for many, many years. And Aditi is a known face on screen, various places. I was just checking your Instagram account, and you've crossed 1 million by a mile, and long ago, I guess. I also saw your show, which is taking place, which is something like Dr. A Talks, and I like that as well.
Thank you.
Fantastic work being done. And Ajay, thank you for introducing us to Dr. Aditi, and also for agreeing to being here, because I believe that Chandigarh's Vibrant Networking Forum and you have a lot of synergy already, and you have a lot of potential synergy which will translate into a lot of work going forward. I think people in Chandigarh are kind of educated, accomplished, well thought of, and they are people with good emotional intelligence, as far as I know, barring some of them, I guess. But most of them are the ones we have discussed are also members of our Vibrant Forum. So we can probably go on and showcase some of them and their careers in days to come. Once again, a very warm welcome to you, Ajay, and to you, Dr. Aditi, on this show. And one word from each of you before I leave the stage for Niharika.
Yeah, thank you, Vivek. It's a pleasure and honor talking to you and being a part of this very exclusive hub of 150 CEOs. And you yourself are doing a very commendable job. So I think it's a pleasure for me as well as for Aditi. I mean, we are doing Trailblazers for the last 7 years. So I would just like to thank you and your forum for inviting us and sharing our thoughts about the program.
Thank you, Vivek, and good evening, everybody who is on this chat. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with you guys, and I do hope that if you have any questions, you will post on them so that we can respond to them. And Vivek, Ajayji told me about the wonderful job that you're doing, and congratulations for that, and do keep up the good work. So I look forward to
Thank
our
you.
conversation going ahead.
Thank you very much. Look forward to hearing you and being in touch. Over to you, Niharika.
So this is where I step from the backstage to the front stage again. Good evening, Aditi ma'am and Ajay sir. And before I begin to throw my questions at the both of you, I just want to tell our audience a little bit about our two guests here this evening. Beginning with Ajay sir. So if I have to tell you about him in just one line, I will obviously tell you that he's a documentary filmmaker who has about 100 plus documentaries and also awards to his credit. लेकिन अगर मुझे आपकी मुलाकात इस पदनाम के पीछे के कलाकार से करानी होगी, तो मैं आपसे बस एक ही चीज़ कहूँगी कि आप जितनी दफ़ा अजय सर से फ़ोन पे बात करेंगे, उतनी बार आप उनसे कुछ ना कुछ नया ज़रूर सीखेंगे. He often remarks, that his is a life of paradoxes because what he practiced, he never learned. And what he learned, he never practiced. I'm going to ask him more on that in a while. And rightfully so, because he had his education in BCom LLB and he was working as a company secretary, but his passion for filmmaking made him leave everything aside and just step into the world of films. And now to tell you a little about Aditi ma'am, I think we already know a lot about her. And like Vivek sir said, she does not need an introduction yet. मैं आपको एक मजे की बात बताती हूँ. Initially, she was very reluctant to enter into the field of films because she was focused on her goal of pursuing gynecology and becoming a doctor. However, by sheer chance, when she participated in the Glad Rats modeling contest, all of it became history. We're going to ask her more on that as well in a little while. And she's the first and only Indian woman to have won Mrs. World contest in 2001. एंड राइट नाउ प्यार से इनकी सोशल मीडिया फैमिली इन्हें डॉक्टर ए के नाम से जानती है एंड व्हेन डॉक्टर ए टॉक्स वी रियली लव टू लिसन. थैंक
Thank you, Niharika, for having us.
Our pleasure, ma'am. And now here goes the round of questions to the both of you. Let me begin with Ajay sir first. So Ajay sir, मैंने आपके बारे में ऐसा कुछ सुना है that you have lived across India because your father was in a bank and he would keep getting transferred. So you have been raised in Maharashtra, MP, Karnataka. तो आप कहानियों के बहुत करीब रहे हैं and you have been looking for good content, you've been raised in different cultures. और अब एक ऐसी चीज है जो आपको पंजाब, हरियाणा और हिमाचल खींच रही है. कहानियों की तलाश। तो मैं पूछना चाहूंगी, आपको आपकी कहानी मिली अभी तक?
पहले आप सब लोगों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. I'm really feeling like an imposter. I'm so accustomed of being behind the camera that if I mean, like, fine, Aditi ji and all, it's a different thing. For her, it's a cakewalk. But I prefer taking the backstage. So anyway, कहानियां देखिए कैसे होता है कि आपने पंजाब और हरियाणा का जिक्र किया था कि your network, right now we have done 80 odd documentaries and more than 125 biopics, and we have covered the whole zone India. I mean, there have been giant companies, there have been medium scale companies, but Punjab or Chandigarh was one place which always fascinated or intrigued me. A nice, pristine place, quiet, serene, tranquil. You can breathe oxygen. Beautiful place, lovely people. तो मुझे पता नहीं, मैं वहां पे आके मतलब मैं सब सुध बुध खो जाता था. लेकिन आपका ये जो जरिया, आपका ये जो मंच है वाइब्रेंट नेटवर्किंग फोरम का, so when I was going through your list of members, there were more than 150 CEOs, and what astounded me was the presence of IT in Chandigarh. I mean, pardon my ignorance for that, because the conventional thinking is that the moment you say IT, you think about Bangalore, you think about Bombay, it could be Chennai or Gurgaon or Pune. So Chandigarh, and then I came across these wonderful entrepreneurs who've been doing phenomenal, and they're pretty content in terms of whatever they are doing. So I feel that probably I can do my next season 10 of 13 episodes entirely in Chandigarh, courtesy if you guys help us out. So probably I'll have to look out for a place to stay, and then we'll be more than glad to park ourselves in Chandigarh.
So Vibrant Networking Forum is all for you, and we would love for you to cover our trailblazers. We have so many. Moving to Aditi ma'am now. So Ajay sir shared with me, and he only shared this much, that he met about 25 to 30 women looking for a perfect anchor, for a befitting anchor for trailblazers. He only let on this much. So since you're here with us, and it'll be very interesting to know from you the story behind how you got on board trailblazers.
Sure. So I think this happened. Which year was it? I think 7 years back. So
2013. You were in Ladakh.
I was in Ladakh with a friend of mine, Presi Prasanna. So she and I had decided to go there, and obviously there the network is not that great. So there were certain spots where one would get network, and during such spots that I was standing, because I had to respond to my family members and talking to them, I got a call from an unknown number, and it was Mr. Chitnis, and he said that I'm looking for a host, and I'm looking at shooting like next week or something. So I said, yeah, sure, but I'm in Ladakh, so let's meet when I come back. And then we met up, and I think it was pretty much an instant connection. So even throughout the shoots, I've always felt that, that it is not like you have to struggle to understand. So whatever directions he gives, it's quite, I get it. Like if he says, okay, come from this side, or look like this, or this is the emotion that you want. So it becomes very easy because that instant connection was there, and we just kind of started shooting in like 3 or 4 days. Huh?
I think next day.
Yeah,
the very next day.
It was like
we went
really
to Pune.
quick, Yeah. So it was like pretty quick, and that's how it happened. And I had no idea about the backstory, which he shared with me much later. He's like, I have that. When he had come to meet me, he had just finished like 3 meetings with other women for hosting, which I had no idea, obviously. So it was, Trailblazers was in my destiny, I guess.
Well,
I need to interrupt here. When we are talking about Adi, I mean, I've been wanting to say this, but I would like to take this platform to express my views. That what has gone into, I don't want to say, I felt that it was a beautiful amalgam or a marriage between Trailblazers and Aditi ji as a presenter or a sutradhar, in the sense that when you're talking about stories, when let's say I've done stories on, let's say, Ram Jethmalani or Anna Hazare, or it could be a Siska Group, or it could be Arvind Vora of Gioni, or it could be Payal. So I felt that I wanted a lady who's very accomplished, very articulate, looks beyond looks, who has the intellect. And it was not 3. I mean, I met almost 25 to 30 women before meeting her. And I wanted that X factor, someone who's got that not only intelligence but intellect, and she being a doctor, and there is a certain aura about her. When you look at her, it's, as I said, it's beyond the realms of looks, beyond the superficial. So we met, and it was like a house on fire. And then I never felt like we've been working. It was like fun, going from. We might have traveled all across India. So going to different places, eating all kinds of food, driving from Dharamshala to Firozpur in the night. I mean, we have done all kinds of stuff. So that's how it has been. So I feel that probably I couldn't have thought about anyone else apart from her.
Well, I'm sure. So, as they say that what's meant to be will always find its way. So I'm sure something like destiny exists, definitely. And Aditi ma'am, I have another question for you. So I was watching an interview where you were in conversation with somebody about Smile Please. That's one of your recent films. And you say that you really enjoyed doing that film because that's one of the films that you get to be yourself. The character is very close to your real self. So here also, as a presenter, as a Sutradhar, there are two things that I observe. One is that you can present the show as yourself, but then there are also other elements of understanding the story and stepping into somebody else's shoes to be able to see what it all looks like from their point of view. You must have had your share of homework to do, right? And did you ever meet any of these entrepreneurs in real life? And did you ever accompany Ajay sir while he was shooting with their family members or their relatives or when he was doing his research?
Yeah, so thankfully for me, Mr. Chitnis made it very easy. So he would do all the research, so I did not have to get into that. But I would definitely get the script earlier because that was my one request to him, that I would definitely like to read the script a couple of times. So what I generally do is when I have anything that I need to prepare for, I read the script at least twice and once aloud. Yeah, so twice I read it. The first is a quick scan, and then I read it properly to understand the nuances, and then I read it aloud to see if all the words that I'm saying, because these are somebody else's words, right? Somebody's writing the script. So then it is imperative that I should own the words. Otherwise, it will look like I'm parroting, which is something that it comes across as very inauthentic. So for it to sound very natural, I would do this kind of homework. So I would prepare myself, and then we would sit together and we would analyze if there was some points which were repeated or something else that needed to be amended and added. Then we would do that, and then that's the preparation that I would put into. Now, the second question that you asked me is, did I meet anybody? I met few of them. Some people I did not, because the format of the show is such where the links, which I do, are completely separate from the interviews of the trailblazers. So that sir would do, and I would go there on the day of the shoot, finish the shoot, and we would pretty much leave for the next location or come back home. So that used to be the general format. But I've been fortunate, and it's thanks to him that I met Ram Jethmalani, Anna Hazare, so all these great, Arvind Vora, so all these accomplished people I got a chance to meet. And the people I didn't meet, I was like, oh my God, I wish I had. So I guess going forward, I would make that endeavor. Now that you brought it up, it just struck me that it would be so nice to just say hello to these accomplished people, because throughout I've been doing Dr. A Talks, and I realized that there's just so much to learn from each and every person that you're interacting with. And these being the trailblazers that they are, I think there's so much more that I can gain from just having a conversation with them.
True, and now that you mentioned Dr. A Talks, well, I've been hearing a few of your conversations and I've been following you, and it's been an absolute delight. It's been an absolute pleasure, So when you bring some of those trailblazers on Dr. A Talks, I'm sure it's going to be that much more interesting. And having done stories with them, having done features with them, I think that would add much more value to that. Yeah. So, Ajay sir, I'm going to fire my next question to you. And I am going to ask you that how do you go about conducting your research? Because you are talking about people of a certain stature. मुझे थोड़ा बहुत अंदाजा है इस बारे में आपकी बातों से that you always say that to be a good filmmaker, you have to be a good observer. So in a sense, एक इंसान कैसे बैठ रहा है, कैसे उठ रहा है, कैसे बात कर रहा है, या फिर सुमन सो की खाने का निवाला कैसे अंदर ले रहा है, पानी का ग्लास कैसे पकड़ रहा है, आपको इन सब बारीकियों को ध्यान में रखना पड़ता है. मुझे लगता है कि आपकी रिसर्च यहाँ से शुरू होती है, लेकिन खत्म होते कहीं और पहुंच जाती है. तो सर, how do you do your research?
Dekhi, initially it used to be through by word of mouth or through people whom you know, through your contacts. I mean, I did my research through these different chambers of commerce, or it could be these business bodies. But once you start getting the initial episodes, then the other person will suggest someone else. He suggests someone else. Like, for example, I met Mr. Ram Jethmalani in 2012. This was with reference to someone else. And believe you me, those 7 years of my life which I spent with him, traveled with him, stayed with him. I stayed with him in Delhi, Pune, Bombay. I used to travel with him. There was so much to learn. तो वो एक कड़ी से कड़ी जुड़ती गई. So one episode led to another. That is how, like for example, I'm doing a feature on someone who's into, let's say, manufacturing of an X item or a Y item. Then he would suggest that why don't you meet someone who's kind of, it's a kind of a story which has been pretty adventurous and someone who has gone through that roller coaster ride. So that is how it has been. So now, initially, most of my stories were in Maharashtra, Pune, and later on Jalgaon, Dhule. Now it's pan India. I mean, we have shot, with the exception of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, almost we have covered the northern belt. So it's a chain, it's a process. So one thing leads to another.
Correct, sir. I understand. And also, when you have to be a good storyteller, you have to very importantly empathize with the story that is being brought out. And in all these stories, there are also pain points and elements of sensitivity. So, how do you bring in that element of sensitivity and still remain true to the art and creativity of documentary filmmaking? And I think I would like to bring in Dr. Aditi also on this. So, I would want an answer from both of you on this as a presenter, as a sutradhar, and also as a director, as a producer. How do you balance that sensitivity and all the research that you've done, and also, all the elements, the pain points?
Initially it starts with you need to go about with a clinical precision. I mean, once you know that, once you are on board with someone, that you decide that you're doing a story on, let's say, X or Y, you meet, talk, you do your own research, take a look at the factory or the business establishment. This is done in a very dispassionate manner. I try and pro my ways and cons. But once I decide to get into actually unraveling his or her life, then that is where I kind of tend to get more into the emotional aspect comes into play, because that is where I have to put myself into the shoes of that person. I have to think like him. I need to empathize. I have to, I mean, what has gone, like, I mean, if a person faces a certain challenge, so how he would have felt and how he dealt with it. So all these things, I have to literally live that life for those few months or whatever it is. And believe me, that can be quite agonizing. It really pushes you to the wall. And but that's how I believe, because if you're not involved emotionally, I can't do things if I'm not involved with that person. That's how I look at it.
Correct. And Dr. Aditi, here I would want you to talk about the aspect of being an actor. And I'm sure when you've been in the shoes of another character before for your films, so I'm sure that must have helped you in some way or the other to again live the story in a way, just the way Ajay sir mentioned.
So I'll take one more step back to say that even more than being an actor, I think my background as a medical doctor and now a psychologist helps me empathize with the people that I am telling the story about. Because having seen riots when I was in med school, just in first year, where people came with their brains in their hands or intestines in their hands and asked me to save them, and I had no clue how to, because I just joined the medical college. But we were thrown in because there was a lack of doctors, and it was being in JJ Hospital where we were in the midst of the riots. So I have seen that kind of pain at that young age when I didn't know how to process it. So having seen life at that stage and then evolving to becoming a psychologist, and then when I meet people and when I read about the stories which are written in the script, it's very easy to visualize what they must have gone through. Because even if they are trailblazers, they become trailblazers because they have jumped over the obstacles or destroyed the hurdles that have come in their way. And that's what makes them winners. That is why they are successful. So when people say that, oh, success is overnight, I 100% do not agree with them. It appears to be overnight, but there are years and years of hard work and crossing this comfort zone or going beyond our own perception of ourselves to reach where they have. So if you keep that aspect in mind, it becomes easy to empathize and relate with what they have gone through. And you cannot just present it like or any story that we have done. It's never been similar. One episode is not same as the other because it's not the cookie cutter mechanism that we use. We pretty much analyze the whole story and the whole person as a holistic perspective, and then we present that person.
Well, that's a very fantastic insight because I never knew this, that, you've seen this kind of a situation in real life. And I'm sure that really aids and that really helps and adds on to it. There are several thoughts running in my mind, especially about the episode on Mr. Ram Jethmalani. I'm going to give that a pause. And Aditi ma'am, I have a question for you on success also, which I'm going to ask you shortly after this. Ajay sir, moving to another question about education. We millennials, we live this with this notion that to be successful or to be a big personality or to be an entrepreneur also, somewhere you have to not conform to norms, because we have this picture in mind that Albert Einstein was not good in school, and so were so many other minds and brains. They did not do well in school, so it's okay. I mean, at a certain point, it's also a necessity to not be a good student to be successful in life. So I'm sure you must have met some entrepreneurs who excelled equally in school and became entrepreneurs and trailblazers. I would want you to talk about one of them. I think you know which one I'm hinting at.
No, one story which comes to my mind is that of Bharat Forge. Uh, I'm talking about the founder chairman of Bharat Forge, Dr. Neelkant Rao Kalyani. He was a contemporary of Kirloskar and J.R.D. Tata. He started Bharat Forge way back in 60s. Now, one interesting aspect which happened with him was he was very good in studies. They were from Karad. So his father enrolled him in BMCC College, Pune. And one day his father went to the school, went to the college, met the principal, and he said that, could you ask my son to come? So his son came, and the principal said that, yes, your son is doing very well in academics. So the next question is the father asked, could you tell me what are the subjects you teach my son? So the principal went in a very customary manner. He said that it is accounts, it is economics, it is business communication. So his father just shrugged his head and said that these subjects I'm not interested. Do you teach my son how to take risk in business? For which the principal had no answer. He said, sir, there is nothing such as this in our curriculum. So literally the father pulled the son and he took him away. And today, rest is history. Bharat Forge is it is the largest forging company in the world, not only in India, in the world. So I think these are the stories which inspire what he went through, hands-on experience, starting a company in 60s and 70s when you had license Raj. Like what Aditi ji was pointing out a little while ago, that success is not overnight. I mean, one generation you really have to struggle. You have to give your 200%. So this was one story which kind of defies logic, whereby you say that, whereby, yeah, sorry. So this is something which I could never fathom. So on the other hand, you have people like S.L. Kirloskar, who was one of the first MIT engineers from MIT in 1920s or 30s, if I'm mistaken not. So it's very difficult to pinpoint and say whether you are. I always feel that if you're armed with an educational qualification, it is good. But then I don't think it should be. If you look at the top entrepreneurs, it could be Ambani's and all. So they have all defied logic and they have created an empire.
Well, I think, much of trailblazing in itself is about defying logic, defying the odds, and taking the road not taken. And drawing on success. So, Aditi ma'am, as a mental health professional, I want to ask you this, that we often define success in terms of timelines. If by the age of 25 I have accomplished this, then I'm successful. If by the age of 30 I have accomplished this, then I'm successful. But is that a really healthy way of defining success? And if not, then how should it be done? What is the correct way to go about defining it?
Okay, so that's an excellent question. Thank you, Niharika. But I would also like to take this opportunity to address the earlier question. I have a little bit of an input over there, which is it's nice to see that people drop out and make something of their life. That does not mean that they are not educated. They spend every single day learning. They have an open mind. They have a curious behavior towards everything. So if one thinks that why should I go to school? Let me just sit at home and I'll become an entrepreneur. It doesn't work like that. Having said that, so then what is the need of a formal education, right? If we are looking at education and saying that, okay, it's not teaching me anything, why am I going? Why am I spending lakhs on these fancy schools or colleges and so on and so forth? The question over here is, Niharika, if tomorrow you are unwell, would you be happy to get operated from a person who does not have the certificate of MBBS or MD or MS? Would you say, or would you trust your life with a person who says that, yeah, I know it all, let me operate on you? So for that reason, you do need that formal degree, because it gives you a certain kind of, it gives the other person certain kind of understanding, right? If you're going to build a bridge over a sea or across river, would you trust somebody who doesn't have the engineering certificate? Can we do that based on their experience? We can't, because there are hundreds and millions of lives which are then at stake. So we need that certain kind of formal education, which needs to go in to becoming who you are. You can drop out for sure, but there is certain price that one needs to pay for it. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, it doesn't mean that you don't study, you don't learn. Curiosity goes a long way. Yeah, now coming to success. Now, success is a very individualistic definition, and there is no single definition that you cannot generalize it. What is success to me is very different than what it is to you. I'll give you my example of what I consider as success. So if I put myself on a deathbed, that's my last day, I'm going to go away from this planet, what is it I'm going with? Are there any regrets? Are there any hurts? Is there anything that I'm leaving behind? Or am I surrounded with my loved ones? Am I conscious? Because that's very crucial for me, that I want to be conscious, which means that I need to take care of my health, my body, and my brain. So being surrounded by my loved ones in a very comfortable situation, if I achieve that, then I'm successful as a human being. So it doesn't matter the balance I have in my bank, and if I'm lonely lying somewhere in a hospital bed where none of my friends or my family is close to me, what is the point? Then I would not call it a success. Or if I don't have money to treat myself, that is also not success. So if I have to define success, and this again, I'm putting a disclaimer here, that this is my definition of success, is that it has to be a holistic balance of all the fields. So spiritually, if I evolve myself, if I'm improving myself every single day, so that I can guard my mind against any impurity or any negative thought that comes to my mind, if I achieve that, if I'm connected to the higher consciousness, where I am bigger than myself, in able to and being capable of helping somebody else, right? That is success to me. If I can look after myself, if I'm independent and I'm not dependent on my children to look after me when I am old, that is success to me. If I'm able to look after my parents, I lost my father, but my mother, if I'm able to look after her and give her whatever her comfort is, and in addition, help the society, give back to the society. If I take all these things, and if I'm able to become successful in that, then I would consider myself as a successful human being.
I think all of us have some thinking to do there, and all of us have some reflection self-reflection and introspection to undertake this night after this session. I'm sure, that's a very important piece of advice, and that's a very important answer, I would say. Now, I think I've been itching to ask Ajay sir this about the episode that he shot on Mr. Ram Jethmalani. Before I do that, when I was reading through and when I was sifting through the material that you sent me, I came across a letter that Mr. Ram Jethmalani wrote to you after you had filmed the episode on him. And if you allow me, I would just want to read 2-3 lines from the letter. Do I have your permission, sir?
Sure. Of course. Go ahead.
Okay. So this is how it goes, this is right from the middle where he says that I must congratulate you for not relying exclusively on my views about myself, but subjecting my friends and family members to clever and meaningful interrogation. And your attachment to truth is remarkable. I wish you had questioned some of my enemies. They are otherwise all knowing and influential, but dare not lie about me and my views. That's the most wonderful line I read. And interestingly, you have titled this film, this episode, as The Mavericks. Why is that?
See, if Ram Jethmalani, if I have to talk about him, probably 1 hour or half an hour is insufficient. If you look at his life, when you look back, there was this element of romanticism in his life. Imagine someone who became a lawyer at the age of 17. He fought his own case uh, in the court because the bar council was not allowing him to practice because he was a minor. So he fought, he literally won, and then he was told that once you become a major, you can. So at the age of 18, he started practicing law. So, and if you look at his track record, he was the one. It could be the famous Nanavati case, or it could be here because that was the last case when the jury system was abolished in India. And there have been a plethora of cases. His entire character has been so colorful. I mean, I always used to call him he's a wordsmith, absolutely impeccably dressed, very charming. He had this habit of calling me darling. So it was a bit embarrassing, but that's how his style was. And he loved good food and he loved good talk. And if you look at, 77 years of his life, he practiced law, but 78 years of his life, he taught law. Right? He did not take money for that. And his zeal, his enthusiasm, even at the age of 94, 95, when I was shooting him with him, he used to go to the gym. He used to play badminton for 1 hour in the morning. He used to be on the treadmill. From 10:30 to 12:31, he used to be at the Supreme Court. Come back, go to the Parliament, come back. From 2:30 to 7:30, he used to have 4 to 5 conferences. I mean, remarkable stamina. And then he had time for everyone. I've never seen him tired. One day I called him and in fact, instantly, that was the day when me and Aditi, we were in Shirdi. We had just finished the shoot and we were coming to Pune. So I called him and he said, I'm in Lucknow. I'm going to Bombay. I have a lecture in Bombay. Then I'm going to Pune. I have a lecture in Pune. So let's meet in the night. Can you imagine? I met him at 11 in the night. So it's remarkable. I mean, he was truly a maverick. I mean, if you look at his legal acumen, I can tell you with some authority that the art of cross-examination, what people literally used to shiver if they used to come to know that Ram Jethmalani is going to cross-examine them. Witnesses have collapsed. So this is no way exaggeration. This has happened in the famous Nanavati case. So he was truly a maverick and he'll remain a maverick.
Well, I'm sure, those are some inside scoops, if I may say so, for all of us, because we knew him from a distance. But through your documentary, we knew him a little more closer. And now moving to another very important piece of your body of work, which is the documentary on Payal Chawla, The Mind That Matters. Before I come to you, Ajay sir, let me ask you this, Aditi ma'am. So for the benefit of our audience, this particular documentary is about pregnancy discrimination and how young mothers, especially this particular young mother who was a working lawyer with an MNC in India, and living in the cosmopolitan modern city of Delhi, while she was working, she was discriminated against when she was expecting her first child. And the documentary is through her struggle and through her trials and tribulations, and how she went on to fight this case for herself and for the woman after her. So, Aditi ma'am, it is not uncommon to see women fighting for the issues that they are facing in their life because it's a part and parcel of their lives, right? And it is often also a notion that a woman writer can craft a woman character better when she's writing or making a film. But here we have a man who is advocating for a woman's rights. So, what are your thoughts on this? Is this very true that women writers are only able to write women characters better, and men can't do this?
No, I wouldn't agree with that really because even if a human being is of a certain gender, it doesn't mean that that person doesn't understand the other gender better. There might be some points, maybe, which for some people might be difficult to understand. However, a person who is sensitive, empathetic, and has an understanding of human nature will pretty much get it. So, for example, I'm currently, for past 2 months, I've been working with transgender community. Now, I get it. I understand what pain points they have in their lives and what struggle they must go through. So it's not necessary that you have to be of a certain gender to be able to understand the problems that the person must face. So yeah,
Correct.
so I hats off to the person who helped Payal during the case, of course.
And I think you also met her once after the documentary was
I did,
completed.
yes. Yes.
All right, all right. So, how was it meeting with her, and how was the interaction? Because what I could guess from the movie, she's reticent and she's shy. She does not like
Very
talking a lot about her problems. So, how was it meeting with her?
But even if she's shy, you cannot miss the nerves of steel that are there in her. It's very obvious that she has that strength. It shows through in her persona, it shows through her eyes. So it's very, very evident that she has that. So she's very soft spoken and, not loud at all and very cultured, very polished. However, like I said, that she is a strong woman.
Definitely. So we have the comment section, which I've been monitoring time to time on the right side of my screen. And Daljit Chima ji makes a very interesting comment, which I must bring up at this point, is that men understand women better than women understanding another woman. Many reasons for that. So thank you, Chima sir, for your comment there. Her reluctance to talk in front of the camera, how do you get past that?
To be honest with you, when I was going through the journey of Trailblazers, you come across different stories. Everyone thinks that it's there has to be some substance in the story. So I kind of bumped into her through a kind of a common reference. And see, once you have already done a feature on a lawyer, again, it doesn't make any sense in doing a feature on another lawyer. I mean, when you look at Ram Jethmalani, he's like Don Bradman of cricket. So that is how it was. But what I found was that if I have to, I can talk hours and hours again about Payal. Her life needs to be kind of broadly classified into two categories. One was, after doing her post graduation from U Chicago, she ventured, she worked, she was doing remarkably well in the organization. And then the harassment started, which is technically known as young motherhood and pregnancy discrimination. So before I started doing this film, I had no clue whatsoever that there is a terms like this exists. Okay, I mean, we hear about normal harassment, it could be a sexual harassment and stuff like that. I never knew. And Payal, I found I had a few meetings with her before meeting. As Aditi mentioned very profoundly about her, is that very straightforward, no nonsense, very erudite, very accomplished, and someone who knows what she's kind of. I mean, her knowledge about law and the way in which she writes, I was really impressed by that. But it was the struggle which really caught my attention. How she fought. It was a fight for 15 years. She fought, and it went right from the different courts. It went to the highermost court. Unfortunately, she lost the case, but she lost the case on technical grounds, whereby the merits of the case were not discussed. It was just said that the jurisdiction is not India. The jurisdiction is where the parent company is. But they never discussed what the matter was, that how she was harassed or what happened between her and there is a plethora of records about the communication which was exchanged. So for me, that was one aspect. But the other thing which I found very significant about her journey was, I think she started a company, a firm, Just Contractors, again in 2013. Her journey from 2013 to in last 7 years has been absolutely outstanding as a corporate lawyer. One of the things which I admire is all women's firm. She handles all corporate. So there was this quirk in her, this element of fighting, taking the bulls by the horn. And if you look at her, she's not the one who's going to talk about her, or she goes about it in a very quiet. Her entire world is her parents, her son, and her work. So I found that focus in her and she's a fighter, believe me. I mean, so long as, I mean, once I was talking to her, she said that I'm, when I'm silent, that is when I'm more dangerous. So whenever I meet her, I ensure that she's not silent. So, but
True.
that was one
In fact,
phenomenal film, which 15 to 20 awards, which we won India and abroad. Film is doing very well in Europe, and for the first time, when I screened the film and I gave it to the channel, I gave it to an American channel, and at that time it was very overwhelming for me because living her life, trying to understand. That was the time I felt like a father giving away his daughter in marriage. Because then the film becomes, you don't own it. It comes in public domain. So I have lots of emotional kind of attachment with this particular film, and I feel good. I mean, at least that is a way in which there are so many stories coming up, and I wish more and more women come up with such stories.
absolutely. And when I watched it this morning, I sat rapt throughout the entire film, and after 5 minutes, I was numb because I was taken aback in a very unpleasant manner that Delhi, being such a cosmopolitan, nice, bright, melting pot of cultures, and such a modern place with people who are supposed to have this liberal, modern thinking, a woman going through something like that over here was a bit of a surprise. So the original, whenever men talk about such issues, for example, when we had the original Padman fighting for this issue, he faced a lot of backlash and resistance. Did you also face any kind of resistance while you were filming the subject, or even when you showcased it?
No, I don't think so. And in fact, I don't feel that there should be a gender issue. I mean, I don't look at it from a man's point of view or a woman's point of view. For me, a story is a story. If I'm doing a story on or Payal or I'm doing on Arvind Vora, I'm equally passionate. I mean, Arvind's story was absolutely phenomenal, and I'm still in touch with him. He, his wife, his children, and we may not talk, but I feel that they're a part of me. And today, whatever I am, I just feel that in this journey you get to learn so many things. You pick up probably their mannerisms, the way in which they talk, and they become a part of your character.
True.
So I don't think one should get gender into this. So that's where I beg to differ with you.
I think it's a lot about our social fabric, because India is such a diverse country, yet we've not been able to eliminate these social fabrics which are there. I mean, for instance, if I take the number of episodes that I watched for Trailblazers, a lot of them were male entrepreneurs. There were only very few here and there who were women entrepreneurs. So I think it's just an issue that we are still learning to deal with. And now, since you brought Arvind Boraji into the conversation, Aditi ma'am, let me come back to you. You mentioned that you've met him once. So why don't you take us through that episode and how that was shot, how that was done?
So very interesting story. When Ajay narrated the story to me, I said, "Wow, this is somebody who one can definitely learn so much from because he is a force to reckon with." And the shoot was absolutely, I mean, it was brilliant. It was we shot, I think, how many episodes? Two, no? We had to because
No, more than that. We did more than that. We did one.
because there is just
Kept
so
on
much.
repeating it.
Yeah. And plus, he has this very nice aspect about him, which is giving back. So he has this entire foundation which is dedicated to taking care of blood cancer, leukemia, right? So that humanitarian aspect of his was really nice to learn about. It's not that that man had just focused on building the business and making it into a empire, which it is today, but he's also given back to the society. So that was it was a great learning lesson for me.
True. I think we are just heading towards the end of this very vibrant conversation. And on a closing note, before I open the house for audience questions and comments, Ajay sir, let me ask you this, that you started your journey with music videos. So there was this music video that you made for Times Internet, the Madam Mast Kalandar. And then you went on to direct TV commercials and from there to documentaries. How have you evolved as a filmmaker?
I'm yet to evolve. I'm still learning. I'm a I'm a toddler. I mean, it's a learning. Every day I'm learning. I haven't evolved a bit. I'm just learning, assimilating, learning. What I commit mistakes, I fall, I get up, I again start working. So trying my bit. That's what I would say.
And if I were to direct the same question to you, Aditi ma'am, about your journey and your evolution, what would you have to say to that?
Well, I call myself as work in progress because, and when people say today to me that, you know, in the lockdown they're bored, and I'm like, can I please borrow your time? Because there's just so much that one can do with time, which is really a finite resource. So I feel very sad when people don't want to do anything with their such precious resource. So I'm constantly upgrading myself. The promise I have made myself, Niharika, is that every single morning when I get up, I ask myself, how can I be a better version of myself? So it's never about, and I've never been in that zone where I'm competing with somebody, right? It's always competition with myself to say, what am I doing today that is going to upskill myself? Or am I acquiring any new skill? So that is my promise to myself, that every single day I have to become a better version of myself. So that's how I lead my life.
That's really great to know, ma'am. And now moving to our very vibrant audience here. So I see a lot of comments. I see Amita Ramsasaria ji having commented, brilliant piece of advice by Dr. Aditi. I think that must have been in consonance with your advice on success and how one defines success. Thank you, Amita ji, for your comment. And Supriya Bhagwat ji says, session going on really well. Well, we are glad that you're enjoying it. And then there is humble gratitude from Lily Swan ma'am. She was there in the previous session and it was an equally engaging session as well. So at this point, I must thank all our viewers for being here. And well, I see no further questions here. I will just leave the house open for 2 more minutes for any more questions that our audience might have from our guests. And till then, let me take this time to thank Ajay Chitnis sir and Dr. Aditi Govindrakar for joining us this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure conversing with you. And because we're a house, a platform of entrepreneurs, just 2 lines that I want to say that कुछ किए बिना ही जय जयकार नहीं होती, हिम्मत करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती. I think this is where I invite Vivek sir again on screen, and I see no further questions, so I think we're good to close. Vivek sir, it's time for you to step out from the backstage again.
Thank you, Niharika. You did a wonderful job. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely
so much.
wonderful.
And you know, Aditi ma'am, I was going to take some tips from you, but maybe next time. And you saying that really means a lot. I'm so glad.
We come to Chandigarh for sure now that we have a season in Chandigarh.
13 episodes.
I'm sure that I fly down from Delhi, so I'm based in Delhi and I'm coming to you live from Delhi.
Okay,
but I'll make sure that I come to you from Delhi, and Chandigarh is like second home to me. So this is where we sign off. I just got a notification that Vivek sir is not here at the moment. So on his behalf, let me thank you. And let me thank all our viewers as well. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Okay. Bye.